If you're like me, you probably think of billionaire CEOs as constantly connected to the digital ether. They're sending texts, they're tweeting, they're posting. But for all their love of technology, these mega-rich have a remarkable blind spot. You and I aren't allowed to look inside. The truth is, there is a vast, uncharted network of communications that the elite use every day. It's hidden from prying eyes and off-limits to hackers and intelligence agencies. It's an invisible layer of the internet built by some of the smartest engineers in the world and used by some of the most powerful people on the planet. We call it the Ultra Network. In this series, we'll show you how it works, who's using it, why it was created, and what it means for all of us. Because if billionaires are whispering secrets in the dark, we should know about it. In fact, you might want to hear the sound of your own voice on Ultra. Now, you've probably seen the headlines. A billion-dollar messaging app. Worth what? That's right. In the same way that Apple and Microsoft built empires based on software, so too did the inventors of Ultra create a digital fiefdom worth billions. But let me be clear, Ultra is not a chat app. There are no cute stickers or funny filters, just unadorned text messages. Even the app's user interface looks more like an old-school email client than a modern platform. That's because Ultra was built from the ground up with only one purpose in mind: total discretion. That starts with, first, understand this. When you control billions, every word matters. A single tweet from Elon Musk wiped out billions from Tesla's market cap. A leaked email in the wrong hands can trigger global investigations. That's why billionaires need a level of communication secrecy you can't even imagine. It's not about gossip. It's about survival. It's about moving across the chessboard of global finance without leaving fingerprints. Think of it like the old Silk Road, but digital. A hidden trade route of information. The mainstream sees social media, press releases, and interviews. But beneath that, an invisible current of encrypted whispers connects sovereign wealth funds, tech titans, royalty, and hedge fund managers. Every deal, every move, every empire is coordinated in silence. Now here's the twist: the platforms. Forget WhatsApp, forget Telegram, forget even Signal. The elite operate on private, invitation-only digital enclaves. Some are built on military-grade encryption systems originally designed for intelligence agencies. Others are custom-built networks, costing millions to engineer, tailored only for a handful of families or conglomerates. We're talking about closed ecosystems that vanish if you're not on the list. Imagine an app you've never seen, invisible in app stores, accessible only with a hardware key or biometric lock. Imagine a chat room where CEOs of trillion-dollar companies exchange ideas without fear of leaks or subpoenas. This is the digital country club of the super-rich, and entry is reserved for those who play at the very top. Ancient echoes of secrecy. This isn't new. The world's elite have always hidden their conversations. Think of the Rothschild couriers in the 18th century, riding faster than governments could communicate, carrying coded letters across Europe. Think of secret societies, the Freemasons, the Bilderberg meetings, the quiet back rooms where the fate of nations was decided with a handshake and a cigar. What's changed is not the instinct, it's the technology. Today, what used to be done in candlelit rooms or behind velvet curtains is now encrypted into code. The couriers are algorithms. The letters are lines of digital packets moving invisibly across dark fiber cables. The secret lodges have become private servers, buried in data centers across Switzerland, Luxembourg, Singapore, and even inside mountain bunkers in Norway. The game is the same. The tools are more advanced. Here's what most people don't understand. Signal, Telegram, Proton Mail, these are kindergarten tools compared to what the elite use. A billionaire's system has multiple layers. First, military-grade encryption, often quantum-resistant. Second, biometric authentication, sometimes requiring multiple physical tokens. Third, private routing infrastructure. Not the public internet, but proprietary mesh networks or private satellites. Yes, satellites. Imagine speaking into a phone that doesn't route through AT&T or Vodafone, but beams directly to a private satellite constellation owned by a family office. That conversation doesn't touch any public servers, doesn't exist on any government-accessible cloud. It's ghost communication, spoken, transmitted, and gone. This isn't paranoia, it's necessity. When one word can shift $1 trillion in global markets, you don't use Zoom. Some networks aren't even apps, they're intranets. Closed digital islands, entire ecosystems of servers that function like parallel internet bubbles. A billionaire's circle might operate its own WhatsApp clone, invisible to the outside world, accessible only within their private DNS system. These networks often live inside sovereign territories or special economic zones, shielded by local laws designed for discretion. Think of it like owning your own internet, not just a website, not just a domain, but your own private cyberspace, sealed from outsiders. You can't hack what you can't find. You can't subpoena what doesn't exist on public record. For billionaires, this is standard practice. For everyone else, it sounds like science fiction. Why go through all this trouble? Because in the world of extreme wealth and power, silence is the most valuable currency. Silence prevents lawsuits. Silence prevents market panics. Silence protects leverage. And silence gives birth to opportunities before the world even knows they exist. Imagine two oil tycoons coordinating a merger. If that leaks, regulators swarm, competitors counter, stock prices fluctuate. But if it's whispered inside a sealed channel, the deal happens in silence. By the time the world learns, it's already reality. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the architecture of control. Consider Elon Musk. One tweet can move the price of Bitcoin, Tesla, Dogecoin, or Twitter itself. Now imagine if those thoughts weren't tweeted but shared privately inside a billionaire-only channel. A conversation where sovereign wealth funds, hedge funds, and tech CEOs trade ideas without the world watching. That's not speculation. That's how capital moves silently, avoiding chaos, avoiding volatility, avoiding regulators. You see, Musk's Twitter is the performance, the real conversations, those happen in silence. One of the most fascinating elements of billionaire communication networks are what insiders call ghost boards. Imagine an invisible message board, an encrypted forum where only 12 or 20 individuals have access. No usernames, no IP logs, no metadata, just text appearing, discussed, and vanishing after a set timer. These ghost boards are where strategies are tested. Should we push into space mining? Should we lobby this government? Should we pull capital out of this region before collapse? These questions are debated in absolute silence, and by the time action hits the real world, it looks like coincidence. In truth, it was orchestrated weeks before inside an invisible room. At this level, secrecy is not just about privacy. It's about legal survival. Regulators around the world are hunting for insider trading, cartel behavior, or anti-competitive practices. If billionaires coordinated on public platforms, they'd be in prison tomorrow. But inside private encrypted havens, the conversation looks like ghost smoke, untouchable by subpoenas, protected by jurisdictional arbitrage, often scattered across multiple countries so no single government has full access. This isn't just clever, it's existential. To keep playing the game, billionaires must operate beyond the reach of ordinary law, not illegally, but invisibly. But here is the truth. Even the most advanced encryption doesn't matter if you can trust the human on the other end. Billionaires know this better than anyone, which is why they don't just rely on apps, they rely on people. Trusted intermediaries, digital concierges, private intelligence officers. In the 20th century, tycoons had personal secretaries who knew everything but spoke nothing. Today, billionaires employ digital guardians, ex-intelligence agents, cryptographers, and cybersecurity veterans. Their job? To build, manage, and protect these private communication channels, to monitor for leaks, to shut down compromised systems before they even become visible. In a sense, they are the priests of silence, gatekeepers who allow words to pass only through sanctified channels. Every billionaire has a circle, And inside that circle, there's always one figure whose role is not wealth creation, not strategy, but protection. The guardian of secrets. But the greatest danger doesn't come from hackers, governments, or journalists. It comes from the inside. A careless word, a trusted aide who suddenly turns, an assistant who gets too curious. Because every fortress has one weakness: human betrayal. History is filled with examples. Corporations destroyed not by competitors, but by whistleblowers. Politicians undone by their aides. Billionaires bankrupted by leaks from their inner circle. This is why the elite invest just as much in loyalty engineering as in encryption. Non-disclosure agreements worth millions. Legal contracts that bind speech for life. But beyond paper, there are softer controls. Lifestyle entanglement. You don't betray the hand that funds your penthouse, your yacht trips, your child's tuition. Silence is not just enforced by law, it is enforced by comfort. There's another layer most people never hear about: the physical internet itself. Underneath our oceans lie dark fiber cables, hidden arteries of the digital world. While normal corporations lease bandwidth from public providers, billionaires and sovereign funds sometimes build or purchase their own hidden cables, bypassing normal channels entirely. Picture this: a private line stretching from London to New York, invisible to the public, carrying nothing but encrypted billionaire conversations and high-frequency financial trades. Faster, cleaner, untouchable. This isn't theory. It exists. Billionaires don't just buy yachts and jets, they buy pieces of the internet itself. And what comes next? Quantum communication. A technology where messages are literally unhackable because the act of interception changes the data itself. China has already tested quantum satellites. The EU is building quantum-safe networks. Do you really believe billionaires aren't already experimenting with it privately? The future of billionaire communication isn't about apps, it's about physics. Networks where no government, no corporation, no hacker can ever listen in, because reality itself blocks them. This is the end game of silence, a world where the elite speak in codes that the universe itself refuses to reveal. There's another dimension to this story. Information itself has become a currency, a billion-dollar commodity. Billionaires don't just protect information, they trade it. Inside private channels, intelligence moves like gold. Insider knowledge of political shifts, technological breakthroughs, upcoming wars, hidden market collapses. This isn't gossip, it's actionable intelligence, and it's worth more than oil or diamonds. Think of it as the shadow market of whispers. A billionaire doesn't need to know everything. They just need to know a few minutes earlier than everyone else. And that margin, amplified by capital, becomes billions. Information networks aren't just about secrecy, they're about profit. But silence is fragile. When networks fracture, wars erupt. Remember 2008? Entire banks collapsed. Not just because of subprime mortgages, but because information that was supposed to stay private leaked, confidence broke, and panic spread like wildfire. Billionaires know that the only thing more powerful than silence is the rupture of silence, which is why they spend more money on protecting communication than on luxury. A yacht is for display, a network is for survival. At the deepest level, silence is not just a tool, it's a philosophy, a way of life. To be silent is to control the narrative. To be silent is to live outside the noise of the masses. To be silent is to operate in shadows while others drown in spectacle. Every whisper behind closed doors is an act of design. Every unspoken word in public is an act of strategy. In the billionaire world, what you don't say is often more powerful than what you do. This is why the richest men rarely speak. And when they do, it is calculated, rehearsed, and timed. Because silence, when broken, carries weight. So the next time you wonder where billionaires are talking, remember, you'll never see it. Not on WhatsApp, not on Telegram, not even on Signal. Their networks are invisible. Their silence is intentional. And their whispers? Those whispers move markets, shape nations, and alter the trajectory of human civilization. Because in the end, wealth is not about money. It is about information, and power is not about speaking. It is about knowing when to stay silent.